The ideas that gave birth to our nation are the ideas that our nation is resistant to right now, and we should talk about that all the time.
In a world where narratives are shaped by corporations and gatekeepers, independent voices matter more than ever. Badlands Media brings together citizen journalists, researchers, and independent thinkers.
The truth is triggering.
Question the narrative. Explore the facts.
It's authenticity, courage, resilience.
Search for the truth others won't.
It's not about being first or being right.
The information war is changing.
It's about being authentic.
Embrace the friction.
Embrace the friction.
Shut the f*** up.
Authentically antagonizing. Join the movement.
I'm going to say how I feel.
Follow Badlands Media.
This is about the future.
The Badlands. What are the Badlands? Explain those Badlands. That's a hell of a name.
Okay.
Well, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the Daily Herald here on Badlands Media. I'm your host, Jon Herold, and it's Hump Day. Happy Hump Day. Right? It is Wednesday, right? Yes, it is Wednesday. Hope you're all humping somebody. It's like that weird little pause before whatever tomorrow is. There's some things to talk about, but it almost feels like there's, I don't know, like a tension a little bit, like everybody's so, whether it's excited or annoyed about what's coming tomorrow, the big announcement. And it's kind of interesting to watch social media. A lot of people are playing it up to be something huge, but I think we're pretty well prepared to not be on the rug. Maybe we'll talk about that a little bit. We have Trump's DNI nominee, Jay Clayton. He's been testifying before one of the Senate committees for his Senate confirmation hearing. And I have a clip I want to play from that. We have Todd Blanche also doing a confirmation hearing, and we'll maybe listen to some of that. A couple random stories. Oh, I also want to play a clip from Justice Amy Coney Barrett yesterday. They were testifying before the Budget Appropriations Committee or whatever. And there was a couple of things she said. First, they talked about the shadow docket a little bit, which I thought was notable because, as far as I'm concerned, as far as I'm aware, me and Chris Paul were some of the first people, at least the only people I know of, to talk about that. That was back in April. We were talking about the shadow docket. So that's interesting. But even more so, she had a comment about security. And I think we should have a discussion about that, because I think I might have a different opinion than some people on what she said and whether we should be beefing up SCOTUS's security. But how are you guys doing? I saw somebody say they were in a pool. I think it was Mom of Three Boys. Wish I was in a pool right now. Super hot. My kids, although it's hot, my kids were out for like 9 hours yesterday. They had a blast with the neighbors. I'm waiting for the rug to get pulled out from under me tomorrow night, says Nunya. Yeah, I should show you guys. I did a Twitter poll yesterday just to ask, like, hey, what are your expectations for whatever it is that is coming tomorrow night? What are your expectations? And the results were kind of surprising. We have more people, I think, prepared for the rug than I expected. If you look at this, what are your expectations for Thursday's election presser? And the options were game-changing revelations coming in at 32%, rug pull or nothing new coming in at 60%, and then other in the comments. Surprising. But I think it's a good thing. I would much rather be prepared for the rug and be pleasantly surprised that it wasn't a rug and there's a whole bunch of actuals to it than be expecting game-changing revelations and have the rug pulled out from under you. Because as I've always said, that is when people are primed to black pill. If you get enough of those rug pulls that you're not ready for, you will black pill. Friction John says TRP 6978. In my pool too, says Gixer Trickster. How many people have pools? I did buy a bigger blow up pool because we're gonna be hosting like a little excuse me, end of the year baseball party at our house. So we're gonna add that to the slip and slide. Mike Iron says he's gonna introduce a new shitcoin. Yeah, that would certainly upset some people. It's so what's weird to me is the conflicting reports of what is happening. There was a great post from Hans Monschke, I think is his name, and I very much agree with this. As a rule, when something is being announced and the announcement itself is being teased in advance, the announcement becomes the substitute for action. That does not mean what was uncovered is not real. It is almost certainly real. It simply means that nothing is going to happen. And that's kind of what we've seen a lot. The fact they leaked whatever the announcement is, and John Solomon is saying it's going to be something different than what everybody else is saying, and there's rumors that John Solomon is the one organizing it, which who knows if that's true. But then Trump says it's going to be something, election related and very important, like he said yesterday in that clip. I don't know. But I guess we don't have to wait one more day. I don't need to talk about it too much. Badlands Media fan, I still think the info will be game-changing for the indoctrinated and ignorant people. If there are still indoctrinated and ignorant people right now, I don't think whatever comes Thursday is going to change. You have to think of where they're getting their information. They're not getting it from us. They might be getting it from Fox News, but the people that are like totally oblivious to election stuff and like this is going to wake them up, whatever it is, let's say it is new game-changing information, undeniable, they're not going to take the time to look at it, and the people they get their information from aren't going to talk about it seriously. So let's be realistic about what our expectations are, not just for the information itself, but the effect it'll have. Because we justify so many things by like it's just to wake up the normies. And I don't know if I agree that normies are waking up at a pace that a lot of people think they are. Burn Spy 34 says, looks like I picked the wrong week to quit sniffing glue. You may have, man. You may have. Let's get a quick word from our sponsors, and then we'll just start plugging away with everything. And first up, we got Loaded Gun Coffee. These guys are awesome. Their coffee is somehow even better. Badlanders, you're all familiar with Loaded Gun Coffee. They have been longtime supporters of Badlands, and you may have even met them at one of the GARTs. But did you know they're a veteran-ran, family-owned shop in Lake Havasu, Arizona? Every bag of their whole bean coffee delivers a high-octane, patriotic punch of flavor. With a long family history of commitment to freedom, every bag is a testament of pride and honor. From the skilled farmers who cultivate each blend to their roasters that handpick the finest coffee beans from around the world, Loaded Gun Coffee has mastered their unique brewing methods, resulting in the best-tasting coffee around. This coffee is smooth and delicious, the perfect way to start your morning. Head on over to badlandsmedia.tv/loaded. Use promo code Badlands for 10% off your order. And if you're in the Lake Havasu area, be sure to stop into their newly renovated store and say hello from Badlands. Again, that's badlandsmedia.tv/loaded, promo code Badlands. Stay loaded with Loaded Gun Coffee. All right, we also got Luv Litters. Love me some Luv Litters. Tired of heavy, dusty, smelly cat litter that tracks everywhere and fills your house with odor? Discover Luv Litters, the long-lasting wood-based litter made from pure kiln-dried wood with no chemicals or additives. It's eco-friendly, repurposing wood that would otherwise go to the landfill. Here's why it's so great. It completely neutralizes cat urine odor, so you just scoop the solids daily, flush them, and urine simply evaporates with zero smell. A single 45-pound box can last one cat 6 to 9 months when used at about an inch deep. Turns into fine sawdust over time, so there's minimal tracking and less mess to clean. And if you have birds, Luv Litters is aggressively absorbent, dries droppings instantly to prevent mold, and dissolves harmlessly if your bird nibbles at it. Plus, it works wonderfully for ferrets, reptiles, rabbits, and more. Customers who switch from clay litter say they'll never go back, loving the fresh pine scent, ease of use, and how clean their homes stay. So if you're ready to kick that clay habit for good, head to badlandsmedia.tv/litter for free shipping. And try Luv Litters. Your pets and your nose will thank you. Again, that's badlandsmedia.tv/litter. All right, go. Just this week, got identity theft, suing the county for flooding, being sued for a fender bender in Walmart parking lot, and it's only Thursday. That's you? That's all happened to you this week? That's a crazy week. Tawny Ton says, looking forward to the speech, whatever the topic, it can't hurt us. I feel like it can only help. I mean, that's a great attitude to have about it. And that's never been my concern with this stuff. My concern is always like, I'm never been one that's like, we just got to do all these things to wake the normies. To me, it's more so about the attrition. Like, I don't want to see more people black pill. I communicate with people regularly who have black pilled. I get emails probably weekly, and it's definitely been accelerating more since Trump got back in. I didn't get a single email, but then about a year ago, I started getting people like, hey man, I'm sorry. I'm just totally black pilled out right now. And I'm, I'll be back in the future or whatever. I've gotten quite a few of those. I don't want people to black pill, which is why I take the approach of temper your expectations, expect the rug, and then be pleasantly surprised. Because if you don't do it that way, you put yourself at risk for being black pilled. Brian Official says, been spending a lot of time with people who watch MS Now, and you'd be absolutely amazed what these people don't know / think. So with that in mind, a lot of people, you should ask them what they think about the elections. What do they think about the elections? Ask them before the thing Thursday, and then ask them after the thing Thursday and see if anything changes. I'd be curious. Mimi Boys ×2 says, John, that is currently my children. It's a lot of people. A lot of people having that effect because they expect the big banger boom news and we get the rug pulls. Maybe he will explain the plan. I doubt it. T. Gretzky, definitely some blackpilling with extended war and high food, energy, and insurance costs. That will happen. And by the way, shout out and hello to all you YouTubers out there. Tawny Ton, personally, I've never considered your thoughts as blackpilling. Well, a lot of people do, which is so stupid, but it is what it is. Okay, I want to play this clip. Jake Clayton, actually, let's do these first. Gold and silver. Gold's at 4,055. Silver's at 57.75, a little bit down from yesterday. Bitcoin is pumping again up to 65, over 65, first time in a few months. And gas is up another 4 cents on the national average to $3.89. And actually, let's start with this clip. Amy Coney Barrett yesterday testifying, talking about having to explain to her children what a bulletproof vest was.
Children to think about and see things that children should not have to see or think about. One example is when threats to my life were particularly intense a few years ago around the time of the Dobbs leak. My security detail sent me home with a bulletproof vest, and I carried it into my house, put it in.
Actually, you know what? I'm going to play this clip instead because it's a little bit longer. I'm going to speed it up, but this, I think, will help me articulate my thoughts on this situation a little bit better.
So I thought I would just share a little bit about how the threats have affected me and my family personally. They have required me my children to think about and see things that children should not have to see or think about. One example is when threats to my life were particularly intense a few years ago around the time of the Dobbs leak. My security detail sent me home with a bulletproof vest, and I carried it into my house, put it into my bedroom, dropped it down on a table, turned around, and my 12-year-old son was standing in the doorway of my bedroom, and he wanted to know what it was and why I had it. And I didn't know how to respond because maybe I lack imagination, but I didn't expect that performing this service was going to put me in the position of explaining to my children what a bulletproof vest was and why I had to wear one. It's also been reported in the news that roughly 6 weeks ago, I was the victim of a swatting incident. At that point, one of my teenage sons, opened the door to go out with friends and saw in our street, it was full of police cars, who had responded to a false report of gunshots and raised voices in my home. I was very, very grateful that I had Supreme Court police outside my home because they were able to stop and meet with and explain to the county police that it had been a false alarm. And so the police did not actually attempt to enter our home. Many of us, me included, have received threatening anonymous deliveries designed to intimidate and harass us. They are often sent in the name of Judge Salas's son, who I think, as you mentioned in the beginning, Mr. Chairman, is deceased because he was killed by a disgruntled lawyer who showed up at Judge Salas's home intending to kill her, but her son, 20 years old at the time, opened the door and took the bullet instead. Her husband, standing behind, was seriously injured. So I think the message on these deliveries being sent in his name is clear. As Justice Kagan said, federal judges across the country, throughout the judiciary, including the Supreme Court, continue to do their jobs without fear or favor, but the threat level is really high.
So she says at the end there that these judges are supposed to administer justice without fear or favor. But it's very obvious that she's pretty fearful. I mean, number one, if she's having all these things happen to her, these security issues, people sending threatening things, swatting her, whatever it is, she just told all of them that it's working. So that's issue number one. Like you just made things worse for yourself. Number two, like by admitting that you are essentially caving to the fear aspect, it like how are we supposed to believe that that hasn't affected your judgment and your judicial reasoning? Like, how can we expect her to administer the law fairly with this being the case? We can't. And she's come up on the wrong side, in my opinion, on some rulings that I did not expect her to rule that way. And you have to ask, like, you have to wonder if it's because of the swatting stuff and the fear. And then to come out here and like, we need more money to like millions and millions of dollars to beef up our security. I'm not sure I agree with that either. Yes, I understand there are security threats, whatever, but also she should probably have to live in the world that she has like judicially created for herself. Like if there's a threat out there, like let's say there's a bunch of anchor baby people, the far left who supports anchor babies, and they they want to send her threats or whatever it is. Like, is that why she ruled against it? Number one. But number two, if that's what you're going to do, you have to live in the world that you judicially created. Maybe that's like crass of me, but I don't agree that we should be beefing up their security. They have plenty of security already, and I think she should resign. Honestly, it was pathetic. It was honestly pathetic. Mike Iron, she's been pushed on us since Bush. Valid concerns, John. Ditto to your thoughts. All trust. What was there is gone. K.O. Kelly, we're all threatened. Has she walked down the street lately? Sissy, probably cowering under her bed. She supports anchor babies. Yeah, that probably wasn't my best example. But I mean, if the Supreme Court would allow Trump to be much more effective at deporting and putting criminals and leftists in jail, and like the judiciary generally wasn't putting repeat offenders back on the street, maybe the Supreme Court could play a role in that. Maybe she wouldn't have so many things to worry about. But yeah, I think she should resign. Rise Attire, this hearing was to ask for more security budget for SCOTUS, right? Yeah, I mean, it's just their budget overall, but part of it was reasoning or justifying the use or the need for more security. It's ridiculous. Eton, I thought she would be more solid. I did too. Quiet Coney, has the FBI or marshals arrested anyone in the case of ACB? They already have money for security. Why didn't they arrest anyone that allegedly swatted her? They have all the phone data from the person and can absolutely find out who did it. That's my question too. I figured every one of those situations they'd be able to figure out who swatted somebody. I do think there should be a much more severe punishment for swatting generally. If somebody swats, I think that should be like, that's attempted murder. First Amendment Mike says, I covered the protests at Robert's house. The left is insane. No disagreement there. But yeah, I think she should resign. This is not like, if you're going to go out there and justify the need for more security or these hearings generally, first, they should probably be behind closed doors. But anyway, Hopeful Theorist. Wow, I disagree with most of this. Haven't read all her opinions, but I think she has pretty good reasoning. You can't squeeze an apple to get an orange juice. I don't know. I mean, look at the anchor babies situation. Do you agree with that one? Because I certainly don't. Good to see you, Deb L. Rhodes. Let's play this clip from Jay Clayton, the guy they're trying to squeeze in to be the new D9. Do you remember? Okay, so in Trump's push and back and forth, this cat and mouse game that he's been playing with the Save America Act, which again, I do not believe he actually wants passed. But about a month ago, or maybe less, when Jay Clayton was first nominated, Trump's like, I am going to not allow Jay Clayton to go through his Senate confirmation hearing unless you guys pass the Save America Act. Well, here he is testifying because they canceled the first hearing. Here he is again now testifying, going through the Senate confirmation hearing, and they haven't passed that act yet. So Trump kind of just like didn't care anymore or what? But then also like you look at what he did last week with I'm not going to sign the housing bill unless you guys pass the Save America Act. I'm not going to do whatever. So far, pretty much every one of those things has gone through. But anyway, take a listen to this because it's another question. I love when they ask these questions to Trump administration officials about election fraud and elections generally. And I love seeing how they answer.
On yourself to opine on the California election process to CNBC. You said during the interview on CNBC, you said the U.S. is doing an absolutely terrible job on election integrity, and the American people are right to question it. What's the basis of that statement? What's the evidence for that statement?
Let me give you the context of the way I look at this because we should have this kind of candid dialogue. Elections are a process for gathering, aggregating, and providing data.
And who does the Constitution entrust the responsibility for elections?
To the states in the case we're talking about.
Correct.
To the states in the case we're talking about. But my experience at the SEC, my experience at the DOJ, my experience in the private sector is that the government processes for gathering, aggregating, and providing data need to be improved greatly.
Are you talking about elections?
I'm talking about
inflation data.
No, I'm talking about all government processes, including the one is.
I want some evidence, and there isn't time here in a minute and 49 seconds, but you have a lot of time between now and when we move on your nomination. I would like a written analysis from you that gives evidence of voter fraud.
I don't.
Fraud in
to
this
be clear,
country, Mr. Clayton,
to be clear, Senator,
the assertion that there's voter fraud.
I am not. I did not make that assertion. I said I said
doing an absolutely terrible job on election integrity. What did that mean?
That meant that the audit trail that we have available for our elections in a number of places is not the kind of audit trail that you would expect in something that is this important.
That's not a very good
That's
answer.
what it meant. And I mean,
So is there a problem of voter fraud in this country?
I don't think we can say definitively whether there is or is not
Jeez.
until we have better processes.
We've
Clown.
had hundreds of analyses. We've had the Heritage Foundation study that found 1,650 cases out of 2 billion votes counted.
I would love for the American people to have incredible confidence in the integrity of our elections.
I would too, and I would appreciate
I'd like
it
to
if
work-
this administration would cease undermining that confidence.
I would like to work with this committee from my perspective.
Well, for
on
the record,
ensuring
I
that.
wish you would share any evidence you have that undermines that asserts that there was any problem of voter fraud significant enough to change the results of an election in this country.
What a terrible answer. That's the guy they want to be, or that's been nominated to be the DNI. Terrible answer. Curious to see what happens when tomorrow comes out, if he changes his answer at all. Do you think there's election fraud? I don't know if we can know until we get better processes. Whatever he said, that was terrible. Quiet County, reversing Smith month long ago would have helped some of the BS. Yeah, I agree with that, but they left it in place for a reason. I have seen a lot of people, I think even Alpha posted something about, let me see if I can find it, them reversing the Smith-Munt Act or something because the fourth PSYOP group. So here, the fourth PSYOP group, here, this is what he said. Looks like the Smith-Munt Modernization Act is almost done being used. Simplify fourth PSYOP 2026-17. There's a new directive that came out, the 17th directive from 2026. Yes, maybe it was a Q thing. Maybe it was just a coincidence. Who knows? But it's consolidating a lot of the social media stuff, which I actually think is a good idea because every single branch does not need a social media person running. Like, how much taxpayer dollars are we running on military government stuff, social media? Unnecessary. I just hope they keep up with the videos because I love those videos, and I bet they will. But yeah, so I don't know if that means the Smith-Munt Modernization Act is almost done. There's been no whispers of them reversing that anytime soon, so I'm not going to pretend to think that is going to be the case. Let's talk about Jack Smith a little bit. This is kind of a big one from yesterday. You guys remember that Arctic frost investigation? Well, Jack Smith may be in trouble after what came out. Constitutional alarm raised after DOJ records revealed Jack Smith got private text from 44 lawmakers. Records released by Senate oversight committees reveal that Jack Smith's investigative team bypassed internal filter teams to view the text messages of 44 lawmakers during the Trump probe. The disclosure confirmed by records released by the Senate Judiciary Committee has become a major constitutional flashpoint as lawmakers confront the reality that their private communications were accessed without following established filter protocols. The inquiry is igniting a broader debate over the separation of powers between the executive branch and the legislative body. Communications from members of Congress pertaining to their official legislative duties are protected from criminal prosecution under the Constitution's speech or debate clause, says the Senate Judiciary. And I feel like the Senate or the speech and debate clause has definitely been misused, like its purpose. This is not, I don't think, necessarily what they intended. Like, they're not just like all of a sudden free from any prosecution. If they're criming around, they should be prosecuted regardless. But anyway, yeah, he got access to a bunch of text messages, and he's going to be in trouble. I think he also lied to Congress too. What did I just miss? Rocky Topopologist, trust the plan is the things hoped for. The confidence is things not seen. Is that in the Bible? I don't know if that's in the Bible. Bay Theater Dave says, trust the plan. John, trust the plan. I try my best. Lance 2002, there's election fraud due to the laws we have put in place. The fraud is legal in certain jurisdictions. The fraud is legal in some jurisdictions, but also it's illegal the way it's done in many jurisdictions. We'll see if Jack Smith actually faces any sort of justice or accountability. I am skeptical until proven otherwise. But hey, you never know. Wisconsin's elections panel refers Musk $1 million giveaway complaints for criminal review. They're saying he bribed people. Wisconsin Elections Commission panel found probable cause that Elon Musk likely violated the state's election bribery law by offering $1 million to voters during the 2025 Wisconsin Supreme Court race. In a 5-1 vote, the commission referred 2 confidential complaints to the Brown County District Attorney's Office, which will decide whether to pursue criminal charges. And has 40 days to report back. The referral centers on a social media post in which Musk offered $1 million to people who voted in the election, which the commission said was intended to induce voting. 3 Wisconsin voters ultimately received $1 million checks, including 2 who were presented the money by Musk at a Green Bay rally days before the election. Played a major role, Musk did, in the race, with him and affiliated groups spending at least $20 million supporting Republican-backed candidate Brad Schimmel. Earlier in the campaign, Musk's America PAC also offered $100 to voters who signed a petition opposing activist judges or referred others to sign it. I'm pretty confident I remember the left, the left offering money. It was much less than that, but it was like offering money for votes or for them to do stuff. It's ridiculous. Ooh, we got a nice review here from Miss My Fiction. Says, Luv Litters is awesome. I have a bird. I can't smell him anymore after 20 plus years. Life-changing. Look at that review. That's amazing. Musk didn't pay anyone. Correct, John. It was a statement to get people to vote. I'm pretty sure people receive money. I don't know. I mean, if somebody from, like, let's say George Soros was giving away $1 million people, but the only way to win the money was like to participate, if you participated in the voting or whatever, signed the pledge that said you're going to vote. How would we be reacting to that? It's an honest question. Because I don't know. I mean, I don't know if I love the thought of him. And I'm pretty sure I said this back when it happened. I would have loved to win the $1 million, but I don't know if I agree with the methods. I don't know if I agree with people winning $1 million simply based on the fact that you said you're going to vote. I see where they're coming from. Now, is it a crime? I don't know, but I think we should be honestly asking ourselves whether or not we'd have the same reaction. Would we defend George Soros if he did the same exact thing? Because I do not believe we would. Provost 13, Trump will come out and say Biden initiated COG before he left and is the one really running the country. Did you guys see? That's a great comment, by the way, Provost. Good to see you, man. Do you see Joe Biden wrote a memoir, which I think is the funniest thing in the world because the dude clearly has Alzheimer's or dementia. And a memoir is based on like the things you remember. I mean, obviously he didn't write the book, but you guys got to listen to this video he put out with it because you can barely understand him. His stutter or whatever, like you can hardly understand what he's saying. And this is a recorded like trailer video they put out. This was the best clip they have of him.
Since I left the presidency, I've had a lot of people ask me, Joe, what have you been doing? I've been spending a lot of time with my family. I've been dealing with a cancer diagnosis, and I've been getting treatment, and it's been going really well. I want to thank all those who offered their prayers and support and well wishes. It's meant the world to me and to Jill. I've written a book about my time as president. It's called Promise Me America. It's coming out in November, and it's available for pre-order now. It's about the challenges we face as a nation, about the decisions I made, and why I made them. Leading the country through COVID, rebuilding our economy, and restoring our democracy after the attack on January 6th. Ending our nation's longest war in Afghanistan, strengthening NATO, and supporting Ukraine. It's about why I chose to run for re-election and why I chose to step aside. Most of all, it's about my faith in the promise of America. The promise we made to those who've gone before us is to honor their sacrifice. The promises we made to one another and to treat everyone with dignity and respect. And the promises we made to future generations of Americans to remain the beacon to the world. Promise Me America is about my faith in America and the American people. I hope you'll read it, and I hope it strengthens your faith in what we can do as a nation and a people.
He looks rough. I missed the gaffes, though. Not gonna lie, I missed the Joe Biden gaffes. My girlfriend said that we started the transition over today to Luv Litters, following the recommended instructions, so the cat won't poop outside the box anymore. Very excited. I will report back with my own reviews now that we've started that transition. Wait, doesn't he sound ridiculous? Like they put that video out on purpose. It's just hilarious. Wait, is this legit, John? Oh, yeah, that he wrote a book. When did the lisp start? Probably a while ago. We never got to hear him talk, though, during his presidency. Is he speaking with marbles in his mouth? Oh, that would be so funny. Wahlberg Forge are the words in the book, real words or whatever it was. Could you imagine if they put out a book like Promise Me America, his memoir about all these things, and it's just like broken gibberish blah, 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 all over the book? That'd be so funny. But they probably don't have the same sense of humor as us. Have we checked the earlobes? I guess I forgot to check the earlobes. His ears are big, not quite Rubio big. I think, by the way, when we measure ears, henceforth, moving forward, we will measure them based on we'll call it like the Rubio metric or Rubio system. Everything will be compared to Marco Rubio's ears, and these do not appear to be bigger, even though he's like 40 years older than Marco Rubio or something. CK Fel, good to see you. Misfit Angie has the best comment. Let me see. What did she say? I miss listening to him talk in cursive. Oh, it's so true. So true. We don't get to see somebody fall on stage anymore. We don't get to see somebody wander around aimlessly every time he speaks anymore. We don't get to see, like, Trump will speak forever and ever and ever, but they'll never come out and cut him off. They did not offer that same thing to Biden. The same courtesy. And I miss that. I miss some of those things. Did they say the book was coming out November 17th? November 17th. Look at that. Love it. More comms, more whatever, decodes. Anyway, let's keep going. The House conservatives ended blockade after Johnson agrees to pair the bill with SAVE Act. House conservatives ended a weeks-long blockade of major House legislation Tuesday after Speaker Mike Johnson agreed to pair a State Department funding bill with the Trump-backed SAVE Act. Now it'll go to the Senate to die, I'm sure. Anyway, they passed the procedural vote 215 to 211, with the agreement helping secure support from conservative holdouts who wanted stronger action on the Safeguard American Voter Eligibility Act, which would require proof of citizenship and register to vote, and people to register and vote in federal elections. Gosh, now I'm talking like Joe Biden. Conservatives had blocked major House legislation since late June in an effort to force action on the Save America Act and a border security package. The funny thing is, even though they were blocking legislation, major House legislation, we couldn't even tell because they never do anything anyway. They did pass the daylight savings thing today, though. That's great. Jetpack Jones, did he say it's like listening to someone speaking cursive? Yeah, that's what Misfit Angie said, and it was a great comment. E.H. Cal, John, sorry I'm late getting caught up. Yes, I totally agree with your assessment of Barrett. She should resign. Good to see you. You're forgiven for being late. Trey Gowdy turned his head yesterday and got 10 degrees warmer in Florida. Oh, can't believe she's on the Supreme Court. Yeah. January 6, 2021 was the cover-up of the coup stolen election during the wee hours. Yeah, it was a cover-up. Yeah, you guys should be checking my earlobes. I agree, AOB, with my my mullet still coming in. Give this thing about another month, and I'm going to be, I don't know, I'm going to start streaming the cowboy hat and everything. It's going to be great. The Trump DOJs defend blocking the release of Jack Smith's Mar-a-Lago report. I feel like we get this story every couple months. They continue to block it. Yes, we understand. The DOJ, Trump, does not want it blocked. They keep pushing to have it released. They already leaked this thing like 3 times, by the way. I'm surprised it hasn't leaked to the public. It must not be as bad as people think it is, because one of the attorneys on the case, she sent it to somebody and disguised as like, oh, it was just recipes or whatever. And it still isn't leaked to the press. But they've had it out. Like the people have had it privately for a while. Maybe it'd just be a much bigger crime if they do and they're afraid. But anyway, attorneys for President Trump, his former co-defendants, and the Department of Justice filed briefs Monday defending U.S. District Judge Eileen Cannon's decision to permanently block the release of former Special Counsel Jack Smith's final report on the Mar-a-Lago classified documents case. And by the way, I am in favor of reading these things. I'm big favor of transparency generally. Love reading classified documents generally, just documents generally. So we'd love to see this come out, even though they're fighting against it. The filings came as appeals continue before the 11th Circuit Court of Appeals of Cannon's order preventing the DOJ from releasing Volume 2. Excuse me. While all the people part of the case fought against it, the DOJ also backed Cannon's ruling, arguing the report contained sensitive material involving grand jury information and protected legal matters, and that the judge had discretion to deny outside groups access. American Oversight and the Knight First Amendment Institute had sought access to the report. Maybe Badlands should join them seeking access to the report. You think that would come off negatively for us? St. Pete 70 says John will have a great beach mullet in 4 months. Oh, yeah, GART. Or Vegas, too. Which we got to get those tickets up. I need to talk to Miss Bright. The question is, what daylight savings got passed? Like, what time is going to be all the time now? Well, let me look. Daylight savings bill. The Sunshine, what do they call it? The Sunshine Protection Act. Congress is protecting sunshine. That's what they're doing. The measure, efforts in Congress to make daylight saving time permanent sprang forward. Oh, that's funny. I'm trying to see what it says. I don't know. Does anybody know what time it would make it stay? I don't know. I think changing the clock for daylight savings is fun every time. Surprise N-words chirp. Tracy in the net says John is at least 6 months away from anything remotely mullet. I'm not going for like the Joe Dirt mullet. I'm not going for that. I'm just like some nice wavy, flowy, back of the hair type stuff. Pen W says it's going to stay on this time, which is daylight savings time. Okay, perfect. But now Congress gets to say they actually did something. Good to see a tie. Daylight savings bill is just a psyop that Congress is actually legit. So, okay, thank you everybody who knew. We're staying in this time right now, which is, I guess, good. D.C. Circuit vacates ruling against USPS over 2020 mail vote changes. A federal appeals court has overturned a lower court ruling against the USPS service or USPS over policy changes made before the 2020 election, ruling the case was filed in the wrong court. Unanimous panel of the D.C. Circuit Court of Appeals said Congress created a process for challenging USPS changes, with complaints first needing to go through the Postal Regulatory Commission. The court ruled states could not bypass that process by suing directly in federal district court. States argued the PRC's 90-day review process was too slow before the election and that court action was needed to prevent harm to mail-in voting. The appeals court rejected that argument, ruling courts cannot create exceptions to a review process established by Congress. Well, that's stupid. Palin Republican, my 25-year-old son just came home and said he's meeting a recruiter for the military next week. That's awesome. Texas Tonia, is it official? No, not yet. I think it's still passed Senate and be signed by Trump. And I bet Trump is going to be like, I'm not going to sign this unless you attach the Save America Act to the daylight savings bill. And then he just won't sign it. It'll become law anyway. Is John muter or is it just me? I'm using the right microphone, so I doubt it. Let's just ban clocks. They'll change it to standard time by December 2028. Dark mornings will suck. I mean, it is what it is. If you don't like the dark mornings, you move to a place with bright mornings. John, if a cat goes outside their box, it could be that the box is too small or their litter scent. Some cats hate scented litter. I don't think Lemmy, our cat, actually goes outside the box. Okay, anyway, I do have a couple more stories, I think. Stripe is offered to buy PayPal for more than $53 billion. And I'm allowed to be on Stripe, so I wonder if that means... Actually, we are back on PayPal now. The businesses, I'm not personally. But I'm still upset that Mike Rothschild got me kicked off of PayPal and Patreon. Little update on the Iran war. The U.S. launches a new wave of strikes. Tehran threatens to close shipping routes. I feel like this is just the back and forth every day now. We say the strait is open. Iran says they're going to close it. They threaten to close it. Then we say it's closed. And then we open it again. And then it never stops. But anyway, the U.S. military said it carried out fresh wave of strikes Wednesday, hours after carrying out a fourth night of attacks. So we have a fresh wave of strikes after a fourth night of attacks. Different things. Iran has threatened to block more energy routes after President Trump reinstated the U.S. blockade of Iranian shipping. Jordan, Bahrain, and Kuwait came under attack again on Wednesday after Iran vowed to continue retaliation on U.S. military assets, leaving an interim ceasefire in tatters. Trump renewed his threat to hit Iranian power plants and bridges if Tehran does not return to negotiations to end the war, started by U.S. and Israeli strikes on Iran on February 28th. Blah, 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 blah. Cece says, if she doesn't like the new litter, she might not go in there, is what I'm worried about. She's never had that type of litter before, so it suggests a slow mix transition. That's what it suggested. Curious to see if she actually does it. I don't know. Yeah, Todd Blanche is testifying. I said that earlier, but I don't really care to. There's nothing interesting to talk about yet. Apparently, the House is going to vote on the lawmaker stock trading crackdown. I doubt it passes the Senate either, but the House can vote as soon as next week on a long-stalled proposal to restrict lawmaker stock trading, according to 4 people familiar. Republican leaders discussed scheduling the vote in a private meeting Wednesday. While some efforts to crack down on congressional trading have been bipartisan, the legislation GOP leaders are eyeing, the Stop Insider Trading Act, advanced out of the House Administration Committee in January on a party line vote. It's because they don't actually want to stop insider trading. Why would they? The U.S. Mint is going to be making a $1 gold coin. Actually, I don't know if it's gold, but U.S. Mint to begin producing $1 coins featuring Trump. And it's his mugshot picture, which is awesome. The U.S. Mint will be striking $1 coins featuring a portrait of President Donald Trump on its face in commemoration of the nation's semi-quincentennial anniversary. Coin, which on the reverse side depicts the presidential seal with 250 inscribed on the shield, celebrates the strength of American values. You know, Besant had some interesting comments yesterday about the gold standard and whatnot. Let me pull that up. Maybe this can be the last thing we talk about. Here we go.
Wasn't exactly an even trade, but for President Trump, it was pretty even.
He usually comes out on top.
Not usually, always.
Always. What are we looking at here? These look exquisite.
Yep, so these are the displays of our currency over the years. Some of it, like we used to have silver certificates. We used to be backed by silver, sometimes gold. And then in the 70s, we just went to what was called fiat currency, where you didn't have to keep gold or silver in the vault. If any of these are still outstanding, though, the silver or gold for them is the at Fort Knox, waiting for them to be claimed if so needed.
Have you visited Fort Knox?
I haven't. People on my staff has. We're going to the treasurer's office. The treasurer has been to Fort Knox. I am happy to say all gold is present and accounted for. The U.S. has the largest pile of gold in the world, over $1 trillion at current market value.
You guys buy that? I mean, maybe he's telling the truth. He seems like an honest gay man, but I wouldn't trust it. Remember when they were going to like live stream the Fort Knox thing? Whatever happened to that idea? Jetpack Jones, are you getting a bunch of smoke from the alleged fires? I don't think so. Probably be colder if it was. I'm going to get a whole roll of these coins. Jester and I, it's good to see you, Jester. Wood pallets versus floor dry is one hell of a transition for felines. You need the Scoopy tools and such. Also pay attention for kitty UTIs. That's not a real thing. Stop scaring her. Or my girlfriend will not make the transition. I want my girlfriend to transition, okay? Fix me out. He hasn't been. He's trusting his people. They had a conversation with Geraldo Rivera about live streaming, stuff like that. Good to see a tattoo teacher. Does that really mean it's all at Fort Knox? Yeah, I don't know. Till they live stream it, I'm not gonna believe it. Keith Wiggins, John, tell your cat she owns at least half the litter box, no matter how much poop is in it. That's funny. You're funny, Keith. Anyway, guys, tonight at 10:30 p.m. Eastern, I'm going to be joining Burning Bright. We'll be talking about a whole bunch of stuff, some fun stuff. We'll probably talk a little bit about what to expect tomorrow, too. And then tomorrow I'll be back here, obviously, 1 p.m. Eastern, the Daily Herald. But tomorrow night, Brian and Ash are going to be covering the announcement or whatever it is live. I may join them depending what time I get my kids to bed for a little bit. I'm not going to join them for the whole stream. Just depends on the timing. But anyway, do me a favor, guys. Hit the thumbs up here. Hit the thumbs up over on YouTube as well. I can share that link in here. And then, yeah, I think with that, we'll get you guys out of here. And you guys have a good rest of your hump day. Make sure to hump somebody. And I will see you tonight on the Devolution Power Hour, 10:30 p.m. Eastern. You guys have a good rest of your day.
Let's get started.
That's what she said.
Oh, that's real good.
Why stop to me? Stop to me.